Hello, my Teaserking family. Let's try this one more time. Okay, I am live and ready to go, and I hopefully this should be fine. Okay, so let's start from the beginning because let's just delete the other one. Um, so we're talking about comex and gold. We'll get back into that. So let's go back to football. So yesterday I hit the UNLV California under because the quarterbacks, first two for California, weren't playing. One, Mendoza, was in the transfer portal. I played the game under 50 something, and it was 24-13. Vegas wins. So it's a 37. I'm under. I have it with the West Virginia Memphis over, and the Memphis over was 70, and I was over 50. And here I'm under and somewhere like 55. And the defense played, and all the coaches are leaving. It's just really a shambles. All the coaches. So I hit that one. I did play tonight's game. I did play the NFL tonight. I've got a play on the Rams, the Niners, or the Rams and the Denver, San Diego. That's where my mind is at. So Denver, San Diego. So let's go through it. Quickly, the line 2.5, 41.5, San Diego. I did play the game. Denver's a B team with an 18 defense, Bo Nix. San Diego is an under team, 18 defense, also with Herbert. He's got that high ankle sprain, but he just keeps playing anyway. Bo Nix had trouble against Indy last week with 3 picks, but they got lucky with a good punt return down to the 10, a pick 6. So we got some easy scores in the fourth quarter. Richardson sucks. What else is new? There are 3 new quarterbacks this week, just to get into that. We got Penix for Atlanta, thank God. We've got Tennessee's going to go with Rudolph. We've got Geno Smith, looks like he's back. Oakland, I'm not sure if it's Riddler or if it's O'Connell. It doesn't really matter. They both suck. I don't know if Rattler or Hayner's the quarterback for New Orleans. It doesn't really matter. Mahomes is definitely playing. Locke will play for the Giants. And the other one is Thompson Robinson is going to start for Cleveland because they're tired of watching Winston throw interceptions. But what amazes me is the guy sucked, right, at Tampa, and he goes to New Orleans and he sucks. And you bring him into Cleveland and you don't think he's going to suck. It's the same thing with Kirk Cousins. What are you guys looking at that you think, well, he'll be better here, even though he sucked at Minnesota and he sucked at Washington and he sucked at Michigan State? All of a sudden he's going to be better. Where Penix is star. So anyway, so it's Penix and Locke. You got Drake May going, who's in over his head against Allen. Thompson against Burrow. Golf against Caleb. Caleb's so bad. Rudolph against Richardson. Murray against Young, Arizona. Hurts and Daniels, Philly and Washington. Stafford and Rodgers. That's a really good matchup. Then you got Darnold against Smith in this Minnesota game in the rain. Jones and the Riddler. Purdy against Tagliavua. Baker against Cooper Rush. And Rattler against Love. So those are your quarterbacks. So we have a few changes. Thompson and Rudolph and back to Locke and Penix. And Penix is the best of all the rookies, hands down. All right. So there's no weather. It's indoors in San Diego. So 2.5, 41.5. As I was saying, so Denver's 13-1 in a teaser this year. San Diego's 12-2 in a teaser. They're both 25-6 in a teaser the last 2 years, even though you got Harbaugh in instead of whoever their coach was last year, and you got Bo Nix for Denver. So it's hard to look at the 25-6, but we can look at the 13-1, 12-2. those are with Nix and Herbert and Harbaugh and everybody else. Sean Payton is too good of a coach. So Nix did struggle with 3 picks last week, but then he got the punt return and the pick 6, so it made it a lot easier. I don't know if Denver choked a little bit, but then once they got it going, they beat them pretty good. And that's what you look at. Denver at home, the rough defense. This game's on the road, rough defense. We'll see what kind of balls Bo Nix has. He didn't really, against Washington, they lost both games to Penix, but it wasn't his fault. They put up 35 points. It wasn't. It was just Penix was that good. But Nix did not choke. He didn't throw 5 picks like Golf did in his college game. All right, Saturday, Kansas City, 3.5, 42. This is up to 42. It's Stroud against Mahomes. Houston, 12-2 in a teaser. Play against them, 12-2 in a teaser. KC, all they do is win. They should be good in a teaser at 3.5. You get 2.5. You don't care about the 2.5. You just really are betting a teaser, so you don't have to lay 3.5. KC, a B team with a 19 defense. Spagnola's got them playing well again. And Houston, really an under team because Stroud's in over his head with the 21 defense. So we'll see what happens. What's the weather like? Oh, wait, I have a weather. I think I've shown you guys the weather. So this is NFLweather.com, and it gives you basically the weather. So if we go to tonight's in a dome, if we go Kansas City, it's 34 and clear and not a lot of wind. So weather's not going to be a problem. Pitt, Baltimore, 35 and clear. Now I'm going to refresh this. I know I saw a map where they were showing rain and snow on the East Coast, but maybe that's tonight, and by Sunday it's clear, or Saturday it's clear. So these are Saturday games. KC, Houston, Pitt, Baltimore, and they're clear. Pretty clear and 30 in Cincinnati against Cleveland. Atlanta's in a dome. The Bears and the Lions, 31 and a little bit of wind. Indy's indoors. The JETS's 26 and clear against the Rams. The weather won't bother Stafford. He's played a lot in Detroit. Philly, Washington, 29 and clear, 8-mile-an-hour winds. Arizona, Carolina, 40 degrees and clear. There's no weather problem. Everything is clear. Here's the only one is Mini at Seattle. Rain for sure, 8-mile-an-hour winds. Now, I don't know if it's the whole game. It's definitely going to be rain in Seattle. Buffalo, it's clear, but it's 11 degrees, probably with the wind chill of 0. But, they both are used to it, New England, Buffalo. Oakland's in the dome, and then Miami is chance of rain, 74. Dallas in the dome, and then Monday night, Green Bay, slight chance of rain, very slight, 31 degrees, if you can believe that, in Green Bay in December. So really, there's not a lot. The only games I see is Minnesota, where there's a weather problem. It's not. It's just a rain problem. All right, let's crank these lines. So KC 3.5, 42. Stroud against Mahomes. Baltimore 6.5, 44.5. 45. Wilson against Lamar. Pittsburgh's the 18 with the 19 defense. TJ Watt is playing. Baltimore's an over team with the 24. Lamar has major problems against Pittsburgh. I do not understand this line. At what point do you think Lamar can beat a good defense? Because I haven't seen him do it. He's been in the league, 5-6 years? He's 1-4, 1-5 against Pittsburgh. You got Russell Wilson on the other side. Let's not forget him. And you got a defense that can't guard a pass. Now I know that one receiver's out, but it's the pros. I'm sure they have more than one receiver on on Pittsburgh. So I'm not really that concerned that one receiver's out. Um, I don't get this spread. Baltimore with a kind of a weak defense. So, Russell Wilson, okay. he struggled struggled against Philly's defense. I read somewhere where Pickett, who used to be the quarterback on Pittsburgh, gave away the plays to Philadelphia. Now I don't know. It sounds a little bit far fetched, but if he did, man, I'd shoot the guy. You're giving away our plays. So Philly knew all the Pittsburgh plays, really. So this would be interesting. Now maybe he plays for Philly now. Well, then that would make sense. If you get traded, you're going to spill your guts to the new team, but I don't think anybody on Baltimore knows it. So those are Saturday's games. So tonight, Denver, San Diego. Both teams need it. Saturday, Houston, KC. KC, I don't even think they lock up the 1 seed yet. They need it. Houston needs it to win their division. I think Pitt, Baltimore, both teams need it. They're trying to win the division, so it's a very tight game. Pitt's got a 1-game lead, but if they lose now, they're even. And Pitt won the first game, so we'll see. But it's a lot of points, 6.5, and in our world, that's 12.5. That's a lot of points. Atlanta against the Giants. Michael Penix, I know he's going to do very well, especially against the Giants. I'm not locking the game at all. We got to wait and see. I think it's a big number for a guy in his first start, but I think he'll do 300 yards against the Giants. Giants are a Z team, 24 with Lock. Atlanta. I don't know what Atlanta is now with Penix. Call them an over team with the 24 defense. And Penix play against the Giants 12-2. Now play against Atlanta's 12-2. You got to throw out the window because that's not with Penix. This is a problem with trends. This is the problem I was telling you about before we got rudely interrupted by YouTube. About comex, trying to do a trend analysis on what gold was doing 20 years ago. It's all comex. It doesn't matter. It was all, you can't use that trend because comex does the derivatives to knock it down. It's shows you how stupid these guys are. Unbelievable. So do I think Atlanta wins? Absolutely. In our world, laying 2.5, we should be good. I don't think I'd lay 8.5 with them yet. Let him get out there, let him get comfortable, although he's been able to watch for 15 weeks, which has been good for him. That's how you bring in a guy. You don't start him the first week. Now, what Daniels and Nix are doing is incredible, but even the first few weeks, they weren't that good. And then now Nix has settled down after 5-6 weeks. He knows what he's doing. Hey, Todd. Yeah, I just did a new one. I went on. I could see I was live, but I was like 10 minutes behind. So I just said, screw it. Sometimes, I don't know if it's a memory issue on my computer or what, but everything's just slow to get onto YouTube. Slow. And then when I get on, it's just, I lose it. So it freezes or something happens. So usually I just shut down, come back on, and then start anew, which is what I should have done. But anyway. Welcome back, Todd. So, Atlanta with Penix, 8.5, 42. Cincinnati, 8.5 and 47 to Cleveland. Wow, this line really moved. Eight and a half, 47. The total didn't move. So what's happened is Thompson Robinson's now quarterbacking in for Winston and his wonderful things. Let me see what's going on outside with this car horn. So I make sure it's not my car. Nope, it's the car next to mine. So I'm fine with that. So with Thompson Robinson, we can see he's not that strong, obviously. Not that Winston was all that strong. So we got Cincinnati, 8.5, 46.5. Maybe the lady upstairs sees her card, turn it off. Cincinnati has to win, but mathematically, I think they're pretty much out of it. They can't catch Baltimore and Pitt, and then they got to catch Denver and San Diego. So mathematically, they might be there, but they're not going to catch it. So they're playing well, but I just think Cleveland's just so bad. But Cincinnati doesn't have that strong of a defense anyway, so be careful here with that. Detroit 6.5, 48 to the Bears. Detroit's the 18 20 defense and 1,000 guys injured, and Chicago under 21 defense and Caleb, who's like a high school quarterback. Detroit's 10-1 as a road favorite. That's it. They're pretty good against the number, but not great. Chicago's nothing against the number. Detroit sounds pretty pissed off that they lost, and they're still fighting for the 1 seed, and they have a hat of it, even though they don't have the starters for the guys who they bring in, who are play over their heads, out of their minds. So I don't know if they drug them or what they do. Hey, excuse me. But anyway, weather shouldn't be too bad. Being in probably the 20s, not too much wind. And just look for Detroit to play their brand in Chicago. I think what's key here is Chicago's coach is gone and the offensive coordinator is gone. And the guy who took over for the offensive coordinator is now the coach, doesn't know what he's doing. Minnesota killed them, and I just can't see Chicago beating Detroit here. And I'm pretty open-minded, but I don't see that. I did want to play Detroit over, but I'm not sure that's the prudent play here because of Caleb. I mean, the offensive coordinator, coach, whoever the fuck he is, doesn't know what he's doing. So, I just don't know. I think the Bears are gone. I mean, they're terrible. All right, Indy 3.5, 42.5. To Tennessee. So Rudolph is starting, which is why wasn't he? Yeah, they let Levis play, and then they wonder why he sucks. Well, because he sucks, because you should never have played him. He's not only is he not good, he's not ready. He doesn't know what he's doing out there. Rudolph shows a lot better. Richardson for Indy, Indian under team 24. Tennessee's a Z with the 27 with Levis. But they're probably not a Z with Rudolph because he'll score more points. A Z doesn't score. Well, Rudolph's going to get you 20 points in this game. So I think we'll probably call it, they got a 27 defense. They're probably a W or an E. A W scores about 20, gives up 27. They're not quite a Z because they score too much, or an E, but let's say they score 23. Maybe they're an E, but they don't have a defense. Arizona, Carolina. Arizona 4.5, 46.5. Arizona's an under team, however, with the 22 defense. Carolina's a Z with the 30. Young, yeah, he had a few good games against New Orleans and the Giants. Played KC fairly well, and then welcomed. He got welcomed last week to Dallas, 30-14. So playing Arizona, Buda Baker got a big contract raise, so he'll wreak havoc on Young with his speed. So Young's just terrible. So I got a pretty good feeling on Arizona here. They're in it. They have to win. They're a game back in the NFC West with San Francisco, with the Rams and in Seattle. Losing 2 games to Seattle hurt them, and they do have a Ram game, so they are mathematically just a game back, but probably more because they lost both games to Seattle. But Carolina, here's where Carolina's going to have doom because Arizona needs the game. And now we're getting to the point where here comes Kyler Murray needing the game, and he's going up against Carolina's 30 defense. I like Arizona here. Philly, Washington. Philly 3.5, 45.5. Yeah, I got such a feel for Philadelphia in this game. Philly's an A team with an 18 defense. Hurts. Washington's a B team with a 23. They're kind of sliding. They played well, and now people kind of see it. And their Daniels is still good. Apparently, last week he hit the guy right in the hands for a touchdown late in the game that would have sealed it, and the guy dropped it. So Daniels is still good. Philly 11-3 in a teaser. Washington 12-2. Again, Washington a 23 defense. But I love the way this Philly defense is playing. It's like Georgia. I mean, you got all these Georgia players on it, and now you got a good coach. And all of a sudden they got an 18 defense, and Pitt couldn't do anything. Now, if they really knew all of Pitt's plays, okay, that's not good. Philly also shut down Lamar the week before. So Philly's playing at a very high level defensively. And I just the way they're playing this for the 1 seed, they should win it. I'd be shocked if Philly lost the game. Right. The Rams against the Jets's. The Rams are 3-46. The Rams are an over team, 24 with Stafford. The Jets's are an under team, probably getting more to an E team after the last few weeks. Rodgers and Devontae Adams. The Rams are 26-6 the last 2 years, which is fine. Play against the Jets, 13-1 this year. Even last week when they did beat a bad Jacksonville team, they didn't. If you teased against them, you won. This is a 1:00 game. You got the Rams trailing to the East Coast, and it's going to be a little cool for them. It'll be like 30. So we'll see what happens here. But I would imagine there'd be points because the Jets aren't stopping Pukanuka and Cooper Kupp and the running back and then Stafford. So when everybody's healthy, they're a totally different team. They beat Buffalo, which is very difficult, but they're scoring. And that Thursday night game against the Niners was a rain game, 12-6. But this is the Jets, and they should have a field day. But Rodgers should have a good day too. This is a pretty weak defense by the Rams, as Buffalo showed you. Minnesota, Seattle. Minnesota 3, 42.5. I'm still debating this game with myself. It's going to be in rain. Many of the 18 with an 18 defense, but Seattle, under team with the 22. This is a must-win for Seattle, and a must-win for Minnesota. They finally have a chance to catch Detroit. If Detroit wins, they then for sure need it. And they're tied with Philly also. So everybody's at 12-2. So they have to win this game, as does Seattle, but Minnesota is the better team. How much is rain going to bother them? Now they can run the ball, Minnesota, and they got a really strong defense. And Geno Smith looks like shit. He does have a hurt knee, but he's practicing and he's going to play. Minnesota, as we know, 28-3 the last 2 years in a teaser, 13-1 this year, 9-1 is a road favorite, and play against Seattle is a home dog 6-0. So all points point to Minnesota here. If I see a 2.5 or a 2, I'm playing Minnesota over 3. As of now, I haven't made my decision yet. Even the total, I don't know what to do with because I got an 18 and a 22 defense. The way Seattle's been playing, I would think the rain won't really make it unless there's wind, but there's not supposed to be wind there. So we'll see. Maybe it's a lower scoring game, but you never know if they start going. But Mitty's been playing very good defense too. So probably more under than over, but 42 under 48, that's a tight one. Maybe over 36 because it's such a low one, but we'll see. Buffalo 14, 46.5. And you've got cold weather. You got 10 degrees there. New England's a W team, 24 defense. Drake May and Buffalo, an A team with a 22 defense, are scoring like all hell. 13-1 in a teaser, Buffalo. So you just beat Detroit, but you looked pretty bad beating Detroit. You scored, but they scored 40 on you also. So they gave up 40 to the Rams in Stafford and 40 to the Lions. Here they get Drake May. Now, Drake May is not going to score 40 points on them. However, you've got this 14-point line, and I don't like to lay 8 in an NFL game. It's just Buffalo could be a little flat because of the 2 games they just won, especially the Detroit game was very emotional after the loss to the Rams. So I don't know. They do need it to try to catch KC, but the KC game will be on Saturday, will be over. Just not sure there. I think that, I can't see New England winning with Drake May. And just the question is the cold really going to affect Buffalo, who lives in the cold? I don't think so. I would say Buffalo will score a lot, and I don't know what New England's going to do, and because Buffalo's defense isn't that good. Oakland 1.5, 40 to Jacksonville. This was a 1. It's now solid 1.5. We got Jones against. I'm not sure if it's the Riddler or if it's O'Connell. It doesn't matter. They both suck. They're both Z teams, 28 defenses. Jones, Mac Jones, what's he doing in the league? Riddler, Oakland, a home dog. Bet against is a home dog, 7-1. Play against the Jets, so I don't know what that is. 13. I think it might be Jacksonville. So Oakland play against is a home dog. So Jacksonville stinks. And Oakland stinks. You got a 40 total now from 39.5. I don't know. It's so low. Do you go over 34 and hope Brock Bowers catches 5 touchdowns, or what do you do in this game? Jacksonville, they played the Jets pretty good, so we'll see. Hey, G, how are you doing? Yes, I am playing tonight's game, and I don't know if I already started. But let me check the email. Did you pay and you're waiting for a password? How much for the weekend? Well, you can either now you get the college playoffs and bowls and the pros, so it'd be 25 each, so that'd be 50. I don't know if you can afford the $200 for everything for the end of the year. That's up to you. But figure $50, 25 each, like it's been. But you do get I got a lock on Saturday in the college bowls, and I got 4 locks on Sunday in the pros, and I'm on fire in the pros, so whatever you want. Let me see what time this game's at today. This game is at 8:15, so it's going off now. Let me email it to you. All right, so check your email, D. Or G. Check the email. I put it in there. Okay, where were we? So that game's just kicking off. I don't know what you do with Oakland and Jacksonville. I think what do you do with Z teams? They're just so bad. Max Crosby's out. Jacksonville playing with Mac Jones. Miami won. There's a 1.5 against the Niners, 44.5. The Niners were playing. Greenlaw played. Bosa played last week. This is do or die for them. I think they'll come to play. Frisco's an under with the 23. Just so many injuries. And Miami's an under with the 23 with Tag, but that's part of it with Skylar Thompson. So you got to be careful there. So what do we got? 1.5 and 44.5. I really don't know. I don't know how live a dog the Niners are, but mathematically they have a chance. I think they're 2 back with 3 to go. But Seattle and the Rams are 8-6 and they're 6-8. So hard to say what to do with them. But in a regular game, I would take the Niners as the dog here. But I don't trust Miami. That's for sure. I think the Niners will give them a game. Tampa Bay, Dallas. Tampa Bay must win 4 and 48.5. The Baker against Cooper Rush, who's so much better than Dak. Tampa's an over team with the 24. Dallas is an E team with the 27. They're scoring a lot more with Cooper Rush. What does the coach not see about this? Or, well, we're paying Dak Prescott all this money, so we can't play Cooper Rush. But there's nothing wrong with Cooper Rush. Tampa 28-5 in a teaser the last 2 years, 12-2 this year. Play against Dallas 5-0 as a home dog, but that's with Dak, which you gotta be careful with. So Tampa must win it, but Dallas is playing pretty good. So this should be a good game. This is Sunday night game. And then Monday night, we got Green Bay 14, 42.5. New Orleans, I don't know what they are now because with all the different quarterbacks, I call them an E with the 22 defense. Green Bay is a B team with the 21 defense, so their defense is pretty good. Rattler, I assume, against Love. Green Bay 28-5 in the teaser, 13-1 overall this year. 7-1 is a home favorite, so they like being a home favorite. Chances snow, but not too much. And it'll be like 30 degrees there, which is, reasonably hot. So it's hard again. The Green Bay laying the 14, the Buffalo laying the 14. It's just hard in the NFL to lay over a touchdown and survive it. But Baltimore did that last week against the Giants, laying 17. They only won by 21, and it was a late touchdown by Lamar. But the Giants got 14 with Danny DeVito or Tim Boyle put up 14 on Baltimore. So if we go through this now, we've got you got Mahomes playing. Pitt, Baltimore, Pitt 12-2 in a teaser. Lamar is like 1-5 against Pitt. Atlanta is going with Penix. We'll see how that works. I think he wins. I think it'll be very impressive, actually. But they're playing the Giants, not if he was playing Philadelphia, he'd be in trouble. But against the Giants, he'll look good. And remember, it's against the Giants. So that's what people don't say. Those, oh, look at Caleb or look at Bryce Young. Oh, yeah, he beat what? New Orleans and the Giants, and we're all supposed to be impressed. Or Jackson. And then he gets in against the big boys, and he like Dallas last week, and he gets killed. Buffalo 13-1 in a teaser. Detroit 10-1 is a road favorite, but they got a million injuries. Play against Indy and Tennessee. Play against Indy 26-5, and with Richardson, I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. Carolina 12-2. Play against as a home dog. Play against Carolina 26-5. Philly 11-3. Washington 12-2 in a teaser. The Rams 26-6 in a teaser. Minnie is the champ, 28-3, 13-1 this year. So with Darnold, it hasn't missed a beat. 9-1 is a road favorite, which is very unusual. I showed you how good Minnie is. You got to have a good defense to win as a road favorite. Let's see. Tampa Bay 28-5 in a teaser, and Green Bay 28-5 in a teaser. This is why I do the trends, because you're not even looking for it, right? But we play enough games this year, I can start using it. Like the first 5-6 games, it doesn't matter. But once we get to about 9 or 10, now I start getting trends for this year. And then I can use it. But there's so much movement, it's hard to use last year's. You got Caleb there now. He wasn't. And now Penix and Daniels and Bo Nix. Now, the next year, you'll start having 20 games with these guys, and then the trends actually make sense. But there's so much immediate. I don't know if it's the culture or not. It's like, oh, I don't want to buy gold because it won't go up tomorrow. And, oh, look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's moving, although Bitcoin fell $3,000 today. It was back in the 90,000s. It was 106 the other day. But nobody talks that it dropped 10,000. So people don't want to buy gold because they want immediate satisfaction. And then you've got football. If they don't win right away, all the coaches are moving and they're firing everybody. And the quarterback, they'll let Daniel Jones waste 4 years of the franchise before getting rid of him or Cousins. I think they had known what Cousins is. Okay. You just wanted the pro this week? Okay. Hold on. I think I have the password. Hold on. Let me give D the password. Well, I gave you tonight's game, so I don't know if you could get it in or not, but. Today is the 19th. Okay, yeah. All right, sending it away. Yeah, Detroit's on Sunday. All right, you got it, G. Thank you. And we're on a roll, 29-2 last 3 weeks, so we'll keep it going. So again, so I think people want this instant gratification, so they're just they don't want to be in gold, and then when's it going to jump, and all this, and wait till the stock market starts crashing, and then they're really going to freak out because they won't know what to do. You've got to understand things. You can't just, well, I'm going to do it because I can make a lot of money in the short term, but I don't know what I'm doing. And I just see it with the coaches, and especially these bowl games in college. I check who's playing. Oh, the coach is gone. He went on to this team and that. I mean, so far, half the coaches have gone. I mean, good teams, the coach is gone. It's insane. So we'll see, but it's definitely crazy. So it really fucks up the trends. All right, you get Kansas City with Mahomes. You can go back 3 or 4 years with him, but not a lot. Pittsburgh, you got Russell Wilson now, so that Baltimore you can use. So there's some teams with a decent Buffalo with Josh Allen, Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, Detroit with golf you can use. Arizona, well, you got a new coach with Kyler Murray. Philly, yeah, you can use Hurts. And the Rams with Stafford you can use, although he was hurt last year, so it's hard to use some of his games. You got to know which ones were his and which ones weren't. You got Darnold at Minnesota, but Minnesota's still 28-3 in a teaser, so I guess it doesn't matter that much. Again, it's a guide. It's not what's happened. But look at Frisco now. You got all the injuries, so you can't. How do you use it? Last year they go to the Super Bowl. This year they're all injured. Miami's got Tag and the coach, and Tampa you can use about 2 years now. And Green Bay now you're on year 2 with Love and the coach. So you're starting to get some settlement with the coach and the quarterback, and then you can start using some teaser trends. I'd like to go at least 7 or 8 games to get something, but I'm very leery. It's when I start seeing 28-5s and 28-3s that I go, okay, I can use these trends. So that's the pros. I got 4 locks in here. And we'll see. Again, who needs the games? Well, Detroit, Minnesota, and Philly are all right there for the 1 seed. Denver, San Diego tonight. KC can clinch the 1 seed, I think, with the win, but I think it's 2 wins. Houston needs it. Pitt and Baltimore need the game. Atlanta mathematically is still alive if Tampa were to stumble. Buffalo still hunting the 1 seed. Cincinnati's pretty much out. Detroit 1 seed. Arizona is trying to win the West. Philly 1 seed. Washington wild card. The Rams are on top of the West. Minnesota again the 1 seed and the division. And Tampa Bay is trying for theirs, and Green Bay. So you still got a lot of teams in the mix. And what you do is like the Arizona, Carolina. Arizona has to win the West. Carolina sucks. So you're going to get a big effort from Arizona. And I don't think Bryce Young can handle Budda Baker. And that's what you're looking at is teams like that. Then you got your Pitt, Baltimore, and your Denver, San Diego. These are playoff games. So you've got to be careful. You're going to get that. Those are more, a lot are like maybe tease the dog or things like that, where it's just really too close to call. And then you got to be careful with Buffalo and Green Bay lane 14. That's just way too much. All right. Let us go to college and the bowls and the craziness there. All right. So as I said, we hit Memphis, West Virginia over 53, and Memphis wins 42-37. We stay away from James Madison, Western Kentucky. James Madison wins by 10. I didn't play the over, and I liked Western Kentucky in 13. That would have won. The over didn't win. It was 27-17, was a 44. The over was 51. It didn't get there. I didn't play it. I instead played Cal UNLV under because Cal's quarterback was transferring. It's so stupid. Mendoza's transferring, so he's not playing in the bowl game. So what's the big deal about the bowl games? Why are they even playing us? Vegas wins 24-13. I went under 48, which was 54. That was played with Memphis, and it's played in another teaser. So I won that one. Tonight, Georgia Southern and Sam Houston. A lot of Sam Houston's players aren't playing. Ohio got some transfers. That game is tomorrow. Okay, yeah. Okay, today's the Georgia Southern, Sam Houston. Oh, okay, that's already going. That went from 6 to 3.5, but I don't understand. Half of Sam Houston's team's transferring, so I don't get that. I did play Georgia Southern even. It was 6 down to even. Now it's 3.5. I could have got 2.5, but pretty much I know Georgia Southern's playing and Sam Houston isn't. The coach isn't there. So we'll see. That line didn't make sense. Tomorrow, Ohio, Jacksonville State. Ohio is 556.5. And I did play this game, and Rodriguez is back to West Virginia, the coach. Half the team's not playing. They're all in the transfer portal. Ohio, I think their coach has left and they're playing. It's a mess. What is the point of these bowl games if everybody why are they forcing them to commit to the transfer pool? No. It sounds like something Vegas is doing to really fuck up the betting, because you bet based on what you think you're getting, and then half the team transfers, and then you're basically fucked. You don't have your team. I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't transfer pool in January. Why do you have to do it now instead of in January or after the games? Let them play the game. It's December 19th. Let Ohio and San Jose State play. And then if you want to transfer, you transfer. Well, and I guess if you are transferring, you don't want to get hurt here because you won't get your money. I don't know. It's just totally fucked up. Florida 10.5, 49.5, and we got Todd asking that question. Todd said, "Well, wait a minute. Tulane's quarterback's out. The coach is gone. Half the team's gone, and yet this line went from 11.5 down to 10.5. So there's Florida money going on it, which makes no sense if the quarterback for Tulane is transferred. And I agree. I think it's a big number for Florida. They don't score. They do have I believe Langway is their backup, unless he's not playing. That's the only thing I can think of. So I'll have to double check that. Now we get into sanity. So tomorrow night, we've got Notre Dame 7.5, 52 to Indiana. It'll be a little cold, 30 degrees, but it doesn't. Indiana's and Notre Dame are both in Indiana, so I don't think the weather is a problem. They'll both be used to it. Both are A teams, 14 defenses. So this should be a good game. I think Notre Dame played a couple of good teams, and that was it. Louisville, they beat by 7, and USC, they beat by 14 on 2 pick sixes. But USC put up 35 points on them. So you think Notre Dame's got this great defense against Army and Navy. They lost to Northern Illinois, and that was it. That was the only game they played was Northern Illinois. They lost, and they lost to not a great USC team, and not a great what was the other one? Louisville was okay, not great. And they beat Army and Navy, big deal. So we shall see. I think it's a even game. I think Indiana's better than people wanted to use the excuse they didn't play anybody. Well, who did Notre Dame play? And then who did Penn State play? So we can play that all day, but it doesn't really work. All you got to do is see how the team did when they did play. And I see that UCLA game and I see the Nebraska game Indiana played and the Michigan game. And I said, yeah, they look pretty good. So all you can do is judge them by what you think they are. Against Ohio State, it was a punt return. I mean, come on, will Notre Dame do that? Maybe they'll punt the ball out of bounds if they're smart. Stop fucking around with it. All right, so that's Friday night. Then we get to Saturday. Penn State 8.5 and 54 to SMU. This will be 30 degrees. It might have an effect on SMU, but I don't think so. I mean, all right, they're in Dallas, but the Cowboys play the Redskins. They don't seem to have a problem, or the Eagles or the Giants. I'm not buying that the weather is too cold for SMU. They're out to prove something. I did play this game. I played all of them. Anyway, I think this is another SMU, an A team with the 21 defense. Penn State's an A team, the 16 defense. But I did see a different Penn State team against Oregon. They got lit up, but they scrambled around a little bit. The quarterback moved, which I've never seen him move. And so they did score on Oregon, but Oregon lit them up. So we will see. Now I don't know how good Penn State's defense really is because that was the only good team they played. Ohio State doesn't have an offense, and then they didn't play Michigan. They didn't play Indiana. They beat Washington, and at USC was 33-30. SMU's got a hell of a quarterback and a hell of an offense and a very strong defense. So this is not Penn State by 30, okay? Next game, Texas, 12, 51.5 to Clemson. Both are A teams, but I don't think Clemson's an A. I think they're a B. They played a couple of good teams and got killed. They lost to Georgia, 33-3. They then lost to my Georgia Tech team, and at the end they lost to South Carolina. So they lost 3 games. They're not a very good team. Kubiak has been good against weak teams. So as I said, against Georgia, they kicked the field goal. Here you got Texas, who's got a Georgia-type defense. You got Clemson with the 22 defense, Texas with 13. I think this defense is going to just swallow up Kubiak or Klubik. I think he'll be in big trouble here. I think Texas. I don't know. I'm not crazy about laying the 12 in this type of game, but Clemson shouldn't even be in this playoff. Miami should be, so it's really ridiculous. And our last game, Ohio State 7.5, 46, 46.5. Both are A teams, both with killer fucking defenses. Ohio State with an 11, Tennessee with the 14. This shows you how good Oregon is because nobody scored on Ohio State but Oregon put up 34 in the win there. It just shows you how they space themselves at Oregon, and Gabriel was very strong. I don't know why I don't hear him being the number 1 quarterback drafted. What am I missing here? Putting up 30-some on Ohio State was really impressive. Tennessee, I don't like their quarterback. He's a volleyball player. I love Sampson, the running back, and they got some killer defensive players. Ohio State, Howard, I thought would be better. The running backs never materialized, and you're not going to run on Tennessee. It's that one kid, but Tennessee will put their ace cornerback on him. And we'll see. Will Howard choked against Michigan, and, Tennessee's got just as strong a defense, if not stronger than Michigan's. So we will see what this one happens. But those are your 4 playoff games. I don't really give a shit that games at Ohio. I don't think that's meaningful. I don't think the game at Penn State's meaningful. And I don't think the game at Notre Dame, because it's Indiana, is meaningful because Indiana's in Indiana, as is Notre Dame. So I don't think home field. I think Texas does. The rest don't mean anything. UTSA is up to 10-56 against Coastal Carolina. Half the Coastal Carolina team, the quarterbacks aren't playing. The coaches left. However, McGowan for UTSA, who was really crushing it at the end, is playing. So definitely UTSA. This game is at, where's this game at? South Carolina, Brooks Stadium. I don't know who plays there. But the weather was decent. What was the weather? It's 43 and a light wind and sunny. So UTSA, this weather won't be a problem. But most of the Coastal Carolina guys, as I said, what are they doing? That's the 23rd. That's next week. So we'll just do one more game there. Fresno State and Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois 3-40.5 to Fresno State. Mikey Keene is transferring. The coach is leaving, I believe. No, I think he's staying. They're getting a new offensive coordinator. Quite a few Fresno State players aren't playing. The Northern Illinois quarterback's not playing. So all of a sudden, who's playing? None of the starters are. This is insanity. Syracuse, as I was talking, is the 27th, 7.5 and 59.5. Washington State, the whole team's not playing. Quarterback's out. I think the coach is even leaving. I don't know. About 10 of their players are transferring. So what was an over team and a 28 defense turns into God knows what and a 38 defense. Syracuse is playing. Well, I don't know if they got the Ohio State. Well, no, he'll play. It doesn't matter. So I think he's going to play. But you got nothing for Washington State, which is why the game went from 7-14. So if you know these informations, you could have had 7 down to 1. Just like if we knew Mahomes was going to play, and I told you I thought he would, you could have had KC as an 8.5-point dog. That's why I bet these games early. If I know or feel that's going to happen, I would bet it and get the 8.5. So that's why you got to be pretty quick with me. I don't fuck around. USC, A&M. USC's quarterback's transferring because he got beat out by Pavia or Maivia from UNLV, who they should have started the whole time anyway. And so he's off. Moss. I got beat out. Let me transfer because I'm such a good quarterback that I got beat out by that I'll go suck at another team like I'm in Uglia Buglia. If he gets drafted, I'm quitting. Okay. Uglia Buglia cannot get drafted by a pro football team. Maybe basketball, but not football. So you got all this shit. Let's see what else. Miami of Florida, Cam Ward is still playing, but we'll see. They should make a deadline on this so you can bet. You can't bet the game. Iowa State, a lot of players are not playing. We'll see. These MAC schools, like half the teams transferring to these other things. There's 4 or 5 guys from I don't know if it's Ohio or Miami of Ohio. They're all going to Texas Tech. It's like, what the fuck's going on? I don't like it. BYU, Colorado. At this point, Coach Prime saying everybody's playing. Nobody's sitting out. But we know Prime Jr. will probably sit out. We know the receiver, Jackson or whoever won the Heisman Trophy joke, he'll probably sit out. Prime will probably go to the Dallas Cowboys, and he won't even be there. Army switched to Marshall to Louisiana Tech because everybody at Marshall is in the portal. It's one fucked up thing. So we will see. Duke's quarterback is in the portal. North Texas, Morris, great quarterback. He's in the portal. However, McLeod is not the Texas State quarterback. We might want to jump on Texas State because North Texas, I don't know who their backup is. Morris went to Wake Forest or Virginia, I think, or something like that. But McLeod at Texas State might be a senior. I don't know, but he's staying on there. Minnesota, Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's quarterbacks are both out. And Minnesota's quarterback is transferred, I think. So he's not going to play. It's a fucking nightmare. Liberty's quarterback's out. Salter, he's sitting out. It's insanity. Now Georgia Tech, Vandy, Kings is playing and Pavia is playing. At least we have some sanity. Texas Tech, Arkansas, Mosier's Texas Tech quarterback's injured. He's not playing. Arkansas's quarterback sucks, so you don't care if he plays. He ain't transferring. Nobody wants him. So that's going to be interesting. So it's extremely tough because you need to see the guys. Just like Penix Sunday. Well, we've seen him at Washington, and we know how good he is. But when you get a new quarterback like Washington State, maybe he's a really good quarterback, but you don't know. Or, some of these, some of these schools where the kid's not playing, it's very difficult. Or the coach leaves, it's even more difficult. Why is the coach leaving now? He just abandoned. Like I never forgot Brian Kelly did that to Cincinnati. It pissed me off. What a loser to go. And he went to Notre Dame and he immediately left and they're undefeated going for the national championship. And the guy leaves. It's like, what a fucking scumbag that guy was. So I don't know. Anyway, so that's basically it. So we'll go through the playoff. At least we don't lose players unless they're injured. So what's really strange is the Ohio State, Tennessee, who's like the middle, plays Oregon. And yet the SMU Penn State goes and plays Georgia or something. Or, I think Indiana, Notre Dame. It's really weird. It should be the highest rated, should play Oregon. Why is the Ohio State, Tennessee winner play Oregon? And it's a it's a sucky matchup because they're both pretty good defensive teams. And here's Oregon. You'd rather have them play, somebody better. But very stupid. These home games, and then I hear the home games don't even go to the school. So if you're Ohio State, you don't keep the ticket money. It goes to the college football playoff. Well, who gets that money? So it's like a bullshit thing. They get all the TV money and they keep it, and it doesn't go. I don't know if it goes back to the school or not. It doesn't go to the Big Ten. Ohio State doesn't split it with the Big Ten. It's insanity, this college football playoff. All right. So I want to show you something I did. Okay. Talking with Daria about gold in Russia. So here's gold. 1 gram is 8,000 rubles. So I says, well, what is that? Well, I have ounces. So 1 gram is 0.035274 ounces. So 1 gram's worth 83.55 US. I says, well, what if I have an ounce? What's that worth? 28 grams are 1 ounce. 246,328 rubles. So if I take the 86.89 times 28.34, I get 246,328 rubles for 1 ounce of gold. But when I did the FX, it should be 2,600. It's 23.68. So the Russians are fucking their own people too. Because if the comex is the price of gold, and that's 2,700 or 2,600 now, why is this only 23.68? So be careful there. But it was an interesting lesson. In an ounce is 28 grams, and then times it by 8,000 rubles a gram. But 8,000 rubles, it's $104 gets you $1 gets you 104 rubles. So you can see it's not that much. And as well, you can see it's $83. And then you can see 246,000 rubles is 23.68. So that's your gram ruble ounce lesson in there. So I thought Russia's going to a physical market. I don't know where Darcy got this number. She showed it to me, and I don't know. I just sat there like not really sure what to make of it. But I said, well, it's 20. It's the spot here is 2,600. If I want to go buy it, it's going to cost me 2,700. If I sell it, I can sell it on eBay for 2,700. But I don't know what the 23.68. Hey, Todd. SEC teams are better than Big Ten teams except Oregon. I like the under 47 tees to 53 in South Carolina versus Illinois and Missouri over Iowa. Under 47 in South Carolina, Illinois. Well, that should be Norris, I believe, is playing, and I have to check Illinois. I haven't checked that yet. Those are on the 31st. And then Missouri over Iowa. Well, be careful with Missouri. Okay, Iowa's running back's not playing. Their quarterback's already out, and Brady Cook might not play. This is why you don't see me post those games yet, because I go up to UTSA, which is the 23rd, but it's now I know Washington State's guys are out, Texas Tech quarterback's out. So I can see if they're in the transfer portal. I haven't looked all the way down. Brady Cook's still questionable, and the running back from Iowa was not playing. He might get hurt. And then you're talking about the 31st and the 30th. So hard to say. Yeah, normally, South Carolina, Illinois is an under, or I might take South Carolina. What's the spread? They're laying 10. So I don't know if Illinois has got their quarterback out or not. But, I mean, that's where you got to be careful with. Again, we're in uncharted territory with, like, Michigan, Alabama. Michigan's players aren't going to play. There's 4 guys out. Graham, the 2 defensive tackles that are really good. The tight end Loveland is out, and the cornerback is out. Now they didn't play against Ohio State anyway, but they're both out. They're both getting ready for the pros. I don't want to get hurt. I'm a crybaby. So you have that going on for Michigan, and I don't know what Alabama's doing. So you're not getting the team that you think you're getting. That's the problem. Except in the playoffs. In the 4 playoff games, we are getting what we think we're getting. And that's the point of it. So we'll see what happens there. But that's what I like. And then we get 4 more playoff games, and then we get 2 more, and then we get one more. So I don't understand the buys. It should be 16 teams. Then you'd have a little less of this bullshit where these guys don't play. And then it would go 16 to 8 to 4 to 2. It's a huge disadvantage for these teams like Texas. If they win, then they got to play at the other team. I don't even think it's there. I think it's at the bowl games. So they got to. So they're in the round of. This is the round of 8. Then they're still in the round of 8 because the 4 other teams come on. Then they gotta, if they win that, go to the Final Four and then the final. So there's 4 games Texas has to play. It's insanity. And then you're giving a bye. Why? What are you giving a bye for? The whole thing makes no sense. But this is what we have. This is where it gets difficult. The bowls. Now we picked up on that Cal game Vegas yesterday beautifully when the Cal quarterback wasn't out. So you do have your opportunities if like Army's players will definitely play, and it sounds like Colorado's players will play, but so will BYU's. Um, Navy's players, I'm sure, will play because they can't transfer. They made the commitment, so that's what you have. So some of these teams, you got the players. So if the other quarterback is out, like in Washington State's case, if Syracuse McCord plays for Syracuse and the Washington State quarterback's out, now we can see why the line jumped like it did because he'll play the whole game. And then you get the new kids, you don't know who they are, and you don't know if they're any good. You assume they're not good because they didn't play. Todd, should there be some kind of penalty for all these dropouts through the portal? Well, I'd be very pissed if I hire somebody and then I made a commitment to him and he leaves, before like year end. Like I need him for year end to do the year end accounting or budget finance, and then the guy leaves me just as I need him. So I'm pissed as the university. The problem is the rules are so stupid. I was watching the what do you call it, the college whatever, the NCAA board, and the president was at the Senate things, and they were talking to him about the NIL and everything. The guy's an idiot. They were talking about the transsexuals being allowed in the women's locker room. Like, why are you agreeing to this? And all he did was say, "Well, that's what the government said. You're running your thing, not the government." It was just, and the guy just looked like a real idiot. One of these, government bullshit guys. Um, so I find that it's really, I would first of all move this whole portal thing to January. Finish up your season and then go play. I mean, then play the bowl games and then decide. A lot of the guys are jumping because of the time limit. They have to jump. They have to declare now, and they're all crybabies. Well, I didn't get to play, or I wasn't the starter, like the USC guy. Miller Moss sucked, so he's transferring to another because he got beat up by Miami, and he's crying. I was watching Nick Saban on one of these shows. I don't know what it is, and they were talking about they don't they don't understand adversity. They can't grow. In other words, if you when I don't get a job and I apply for a job and I don't get it, you learn how to deal with losing, with not getting. They didn't choose me. Or you ask a girl on a date and you got to deal with, she said no. You can't always get a yes, and you can't always, do anything. So um, you have to understand that it's a very you do get no's, you do lose. That's why I hate this. Everybody gets a trophy for trying. No, you gotta be rewarded for winning, and you got to be disappointed for losing, and that's how you grow. I think these guys should sign a if they're signing for $1 million, let's say. I don't know, this kid at Michigan, what's he signing for? $5 million? You damn right I got a contract that says you're staying 4 years. This guy can stay a year and get 10 million and leave. I mean, what is that? It's insanity. So yeah, I don't like it at all. I think that they're commit, but then you see the coaches run. I mean, look at the coach, Jacksonville State, Rich Rodriguez going to West Virginia. He's not even coaching the bowl game either. So it's the blind leading the blind. They're both terrible. They're both totally fucked. Um, uh, excuse me. I mean, because the coaches know better. He's leaving. Why is the coach leaving before the bowl game? I don't understand any of it. Um, there's a point you're a free agent, or like us, I can go work at Mercedes, and then if I want to switch and go work at GM, I can do that anytime. I don't owe them anything. They give me a paycheck, and if the other one wants to give me a bigger paycheck, it's up to me to be a business and say, well, I can make more money for my skill, then I'm going to make more money. That's really what it is. It's what do you want to do with it? So I think there's problems, but I don't agree with the paying of the players, especially millions of dollars. I think that's absurd. I don't know how the teammates, if I was the teammates, I'd kill him unless he paid me money. But I remember when they couldn't work at all, a lot of the players were not allowed to work. So that's what happened. They need pizza money. That's what the Fab Five, they need pizza money. And the guy would give them pizza money going, well, when you turn pro and you're going to make millions of dollars, don't forget me. Right. That's what he was doing. So it's really, and we went from where the guy can't take $20 for dinner. Now he can make 10 million. That's not right either. I don't think that's a fair way to go. So I don't like it. I think if you're getting a free education and they're signing you, that you would have to commit to the 4 years. However, they, on the other hand, say, oh, I found this other guy. We're taking back the contract. So there's guys that get the scholarship that they take away from the guy. So he thinks he's there 4 years, and another guy comes and says, sorry, we're taking away your scholarship. It's a pretty fucked up thing. So I don't know the answer. I think that everybody should have to finish the season. If you want to leave after the season over because it's a season, not like GM and Ford, I think they should have to commit to it. But you get guys getting injured all the time and they're out. So I don't know. Anyway, so keep in mind the grams to rubles to dollars. So Russia, I'm expecting a bigger thing. And I don't know where she got it from. Maybe it was just the government giving it to her. Here's where she's showing me. So there you can see the 86.89. And it looks like a buy and a sell, and it's all in Russian, so I can't tell. I think this is what it was. This is what it was a few months ago or whatever. So it's gone from 69.61. So there you go, your gold guys, Luke. This moved from 69.61 to 80 to 86.89. This moved 2,200 rubles. Now, part of it's the ruble's weak, but because the ruble, I remember when we were first talking with Daria, giving her some help, it was like $60, $65. So a lot of this is because the ruble is now $104 also. Anyway. So I think we pointed out gold. Let's just take a look at it. And there's a few videos we can look at. Back to see, look at it's such bullshit. The Chinese have it till about 6 a.m. They get out and London takes over and dump, and then the US gets out at 6. And here's Asia, and it's going back to 2602. And this is 2902. I'm gonna go buy silver tomorrow. So it's all bullshit. Again, it's all derivative. Nobody is selling an ounce of gold, so don't worry about it. It's just this is the game we're in. We're waiting for BRICS to blow it up. We're waiting for them to have gold backed currency. We're waiting for all the currencies to blow up. And when that happens, we'll be very happy we have gold and it's not a stock. We're not really worried about day to day and everything else. I was just about to watch this one. This is a mafia guy who actually shot JFK. So pretty interesting, but I haven't watched it yet. All right, here's an alligator.
Chinese in this century have been buying gold. They virtually had nothing 12 years ago, and today they have bought more than or as much as the annual production of gold every year. And they now have, nobody knows how much the Chinese have, but they probably have 20,000 tons of gold. Whatever the split is between central and private, we don't know. But they certainly have now more gold than anybody else, whilst you take most central banks in Europe and in the US have sold or reduced their gold, or they have leased it to the market, and this is done covertly, so we don't even know how much they have leased to the market. What we do know is when they do, it goes to the east. Chinese in this century have been buying gold. They virtually had nothing.
We missed the first few seconds. That's why I replayed it. So he's just explaining the Chinese hold on it.
The West doesn't understand gold, doesn't buy any gold, but actually continuously sells gold, have done for many years now, or even decades, both central banks and investors. At the same time, the West printed lots and lots of money, and people think that their paper assets that they hold are real assets. In the East, they understand that gold is real money, and it does protect you from all the risks that exist in the world, in the financial system, in the banking system, and also with central banks as well as economies. And therefore, the Indians, of course, as a tradition, have bought gold for centuries. The Indians have the best funded pension system in the world. Everybody owns gold.
All right, so one thing he said that I want to talk about is wealth protection from the currency's debasement, or how did he call it?
The West doesn't understand gold, doesn't buy any gold, but actually continuously sells gold, have done for many years now, or even decades, both central banks and investors. At the same time, the West printed lots and lots of money, and people think that their paper assets that they hold are real assets. In the East, they understand that gold is real money, and it does protect you from all the risks that exist.
It protects you from all the risk, and this is what, as somebody trying to help people and get into gold, and I talk to them about it, they don't understand there is a risk. This is the problem. People don't understand staying in monopoly money, there's a risk. They don't understand you can print it to zero. They think that the dollar will never lose its value, that you can just keep printing it and nothing will happen. So it goes over everybody's head that there's a problem. This is the problem. So why do I buy gold? I don't need gold. What can happen to the dollar? They'll just keep printing it. That's how people are. They're just very ignorant. They don't understand the risks they're in. They don't understand the need for the gold and the protection. Plus, it's an asset that's been held down, so they don't understand the real value of gold's 10 to 20 times higher than it is now. That was one problem Jenna had. She couldn't understand that gold's going to go up. But why do I point that to you? Let's go back to Daria now. Daria makes this comment. Okay, this is Daria's comment. Now, by the new year, they are raising prices for all products. They said that prices will rise even higher closer to December 30th. So that was from Russia with love. I said Putin will have to come out with gold backed currency to save his economy soon. So this is somebody in Russia saying that the prices are going to go up and they're going to go up even higher. Now, my response was, well, they have to pay for the war. That's why they're going up. Was to pay for the war. So they're raising price. The question is there competition in substitute goods? Here it's a hard thing to do because if you raise steak, I'll buy salmon or chicken or a different steak, or I can buy hamburger. I can buy something. And here the stores are more profit oriented versus in Russia, it might be more government. Although Russia is much more capitalist, it still is there competition, and can they afford to do that? Because this is the problem. How is Daria going to buy food if the food gets so expensive? How much can I give her? And I said to her, this is why we buy gold and silver. And that's why she gave me the gold prices. And I said, well, here I can get 2,700 for it. So that's fine. But the key is I do have it. Jenna never really understand that the money was going to go out and the gold was necessary. But you don't want to sell the gold now because the gold is going to be much higher. She never got that. She never got the risk of the dollar. Well, we use paper. And it was like, no, you can't keep using paper. It's worthless. That's the whole thing, what inflation is. But why do they call it inflation? Is so nobody understands what the fuck it is. And then they can say, well, its prices going up. It's Oreo cookies selling it higher. No, it's you printing the money. So they deflect the whole point of the inflation, and the whole point of that they're printing the money to death is by saying, well, it's the prices going up. It's not that we're printing the money to death, and it's not that we need more money to do it. So inflation is a scam by the government to print the money and pocket it, and then as prices can go up, they are protected because they've printed the money. And that's the problem with it. It's not really, it should be, you're printing the money and making the value of the money going down. That's what inflation is. But most people do not believe that you can print the money and have it go down in value. That's the problem. What do I need protection from? The money is fine. It'll keep going. And that's really the issue. And that's the hard part. Well, we need gold. I was in an all hands finance meeting today, and it gets over. And any questions? Now, if I had been there a little longer, I would have said, "Well, what's your opinion on bricks and gold? And how much gold do we own?" That would have been my question and comment. But because I'm new, I didn't want to stir the water yet. I will, but not yet. And I couldn't believe this meeting today. The guy's talking about, this is the VP, and he's talking about, well, you can't spend more money than you get. You're the VP and you're or CFO, and you're talking like that. Yeah, you can't spend more money than you bring in. Oh, like, and then and here's where I have with non-finance people. Well, it's inflows and outflows. Who talks like that? No economist or finance person would say inflows and outflows. They would say receipts and disbursements, or they would say, how much revenue did you get versus expense? That's what you would say if you were a finance person. And it's like how we talk football or I talk economics. It's a certain language we're talking. I talk teasers. It's a language, the dog and the home team. That's all a language. That's what a football handicapper would say, not if I was a engineer and talking to you, I would talk in a different language. And that's the problem you have, is like everything's kind of a language. And finance is a language, economics is a language, and obviously gold, and then obviously football. They're all their own little, you talk in certain terms. And this is why you need a finance guy in charge of finance, because if you have a lawyer in charge or an engineer, they don't get it. They can't get it. They're not finance people. They can't speak the language. They can't understand it. So for him to say, well, you gotta spend less money than you take in, it's like, oh my God, you're the CFO. I think next time I'm in an interview and they go, well, what would you like, in 5 years or whatever? I'm going to say, I want to run the company. Um, Believe me, if I would have said how much gold do you got, the guy wouldn't have known what I'm talking about. How are you going to protect when the dollar goes to zero? He would not have had a clue. So I didn't really bring it up, but I could have. And this is the problem. You have people running these companies that have no business running them. This is why they all go bankrupt. And they don't really have the business knowledge to be a CFO. What's your background's in an MBA in engineering or whatever? What makes you a finance guy? I mean, you need a finance guy to run the finance. Anyway, so that was I couldn't believe that. Well, you can't spend more than you make. Really? Oh, this is third grade math. I mean, come on. Everybody knows that, and then he's saying it like nobody knows it, and you're like, you're just shaking your head, going, "Are you fucking kidding me? Are you for real?" I've never heard a CFO say, "Well, you can't spend more than you make." Like, yeah, that's why we have budgets. That's why we make budgets, and that's what we do. And wow, I couldn't believe what I heard. Anyway, so of course you got to be prudent, but you've got to realize that the dollar's in trouble. And once you realize it, then you have to then protect. Now, I heard Egon say gold's not an investment. It is. Or maybe it was Yankee Doodle Dandy. Gold's not an investment. Yeah, it is an investment. It's an asset that goes up in value that's being held down. You don't even know the price of gold, and you can't possibly do a trend analysis on it where you're saying, well, in 2000 it was this, and then it did that, and then in 2008 when the crisis came, this is what gold did, and it's been on a bull run. No, you're clueless. You have no idea what you're talking about because it's price fixed by COMEX. So you can't. It's like saying Madoff. Well, he was on a bull run for 20 years. No, it was a joke. He's a criminal. He didn't invest anything, and that's what you got to understand. So you can't look at gold and say it's a bull run or this or that, or it's a triple witching, and they're doing triple Lindy's and the whole teapot and tea kettle. What are you talking about? It's price fixed. How does it even go up? It's derivatives pushing it up and derivatives pushing down. We're in a option market. That's it. It is not, nobody's selling, nobody's profit taking, nobody's doing anything. This is the problem. So you've got to understand that, and nobody really does. So that's where we're at with it. And I'm going to do a few minutes of this with Egon.
Ronnie, welcome to Zurich again.
Hi, Egon. Good to see you.
I'm so pleased that you're here. Ronald Stoeffler, a very good old friend. I mean, I've known him since he was in shorts, and he was still into gold then. An exaggeration, but a long time we known each other, and had great pleasure at our friendship. And also, of course, you're an advisor to Von Greyers for many years, and we're very pleased to have you on the team. We both have a long history with gold, of course. I started seriously in the beginning of the 2000s, investing in gold for ourselves and people we advise. And I believe that we are going to see a revaluation of gold happening not too far away.
I mean, the thing is, I think that the topic of money, everybody, tries to make a living and save some money and have a proper career and everything. But then actually nobody really knows what money is.
Medium of exchange.
Thinks about money and the characteristics of sound money, because it's not taught on universities. Yeah, there's actually I would say, like, in the bank where I worked, and that probably applies to every financial institution, 99% of the people working there have got no clue how money is actually created.
No.
Nobody knows about the history of money, and it's something that is super interesting, and this is where I say that through the internet, and also to some degree to Bitcoin, I think there's a little bit more momentum when it comes to understanding and questioning money, and I think that's a very, very important development that we're seeing. But then on the other hand, inflation is the big topic, and I think it's going to continue to be a major topic going forward. But then it's primarily being greedy businessmen being responsible for the inflation, and then of course Putin, and then the energy crisis and everything. So I would have hoped that due to this kind of endgame scenario that we're now seeing, much more people would be waking up and just ask the question, why is this actually happening?
It's fascinating. The gold is up about 40% in most currencies this year, and we all thought that because buying has been slow for many years, gold goes up consistently because paper money goes down consistently, of course, in value. But you would have thought, as we were getting nearer to $3,000, that new buyers would come into gold. But as a matter of fact, everyone in the gold world, in the investment side of gold, have seen actually people selling gold rather than buying gold this year. And we are up overall, but we have seen a lot of sellers. People are just taking profits. They see it as an investment rather than as wealth preservation. Many, but and you told me something interesting about also the Austrian Mint, that they were down 60% this year. Is that right?
I don't know the exact number, but it's I just know it for a couple of gold dealers in Germany, that they're not doing so well this year, and it seems that those people that actually get it, they are taking profits, or perhaps they have to sell something because there's lots of financial stress. But then we all got used to so many crises that people got just used to that, and there's no new people actually starting to buy gold at the moment. But I think, Egon, what's really important, and that's the leitmotif of this year's report, the new gold playbook. I think we always are focusing on the Western world when it comes to gold, and we stare at the Fed funds futures and how is the CPI going to develop, and all the political crises and developments that we're seeing in the Western world. But actually, the price of gold is more and more being made and influenced by emerging markets demand. So that's really, really important. And Chinese, Indians, people in the Middle East, in Turkey, they're buying gold because they're quite used to weak currencies, high inflation, financial repression. They don't have so many investment alternatives. And for them, and this is like I said that yesterday in one of my presentations, I said, we put out the paper where we said, okay, the optimal gold allocation for a let's say like a bond equity portfolio, like a standard portfolio, would be 14 to 18% gold.
Yeah.
Now, I would say like in Western markets, it's probably like 1%. The current allocation to gold. Maximum.
Yeah.
And if I say like, okay, we suggest like, let's say 15% gold allocation, I'm being ridiculed and people just say, okay, this is way too much. If I go to Istanbul or to Shanghai and say like, we suggest 15%, people will start laughing because that's actually too little. For them, 15% would be like the lowest allocation that they would suggest. So I think this big divergence between the Western world and emerging markets is a really interesting one, especially now that central banks have really become a major driver, not only central banks, but also the retail crowd in emerging markets. And I think it's really, really important to focus more on the developments in emerging markets compared to the Western world. And gold always goes to countries and regions that are prospering, where there's real wealth, where there's actually capital being built up and not being consumed. And that's unfortunately not in the Western world currently.
No, and on top of that, I mean, you're saying central banks are buying. Of course, no Western central bank is buying. So is the Eastern and the BRIC countries. But, of course, the US, they shot themselves in the foot from the point of view when they actually confiscated the Russian assets in Western central banks. And, of course, US decided to do it, and the lapdog of Europe just follows without hesitation and agreed to that. The consequences, of course, that no central bank will ever want to hold their reserve assets in US dollars, because the US can, whenever they want, just confiscate it, as they have just shown that they will do. And therefore, we will see over the next few years here, there won't be in a hurry, but central banks over coming years, and it's happening already, gradually shifting the dollar reserves to gold. And that will mean a fundamental revaluation of the gold price, in my view. And it will lead to gold going up probably by multiples, in my view. Because this is why we see no retail buying really this year in the West at all, gold. And in spite of that, the gold price is up almost, we're around 40%, let's say. Which means that the main buying has been in the East and central banks. So, I always say that central banks and governments are gold's best friend, because they will always be there to destroy the value of the currency. And gold isn't going up, as we both know. It's just the money, paper money, is going down in value. And that's what gold reflects. And since throughout history, governments, central banks have always destroyed the value of the currency. That means that over time, measured in paper money, gold will always go up. And now, as I said, when central banks on top of that are moving into gold in a major way for their reserves, we are going to see such a major revaluation of gold, in my view, that this gold journey, and just take in this century, gold is up roughly 9-10 times in all currencies. To me, we have just seen the beginning of this. I'm not a gold bug, but I'm a currency bear.
Well, he is a gold bug because he's saying the currencies are no good. That's what a gold bug is. The currencies are no good, so I'm buying gold. I don't know why they got the term gold bug, but because of the currencies going down, gold's going to go up. That's what a gold bug is by definition. Now, I'm not one either. I mean, I don't know what that means, but I'm kind of, I'm pro gold because I know you can't print it. But see, I break it down very easily. They don't really know why gold's currencies lasted so long, and I do, because you can't print it. Because it's all about how much you print means if it's limited versus if it's not limited. So when you get a 50 count, it's valuable because it's a 50 count, because it's limited. And when you get some of these other ones that aren't limited, then that's why they go to zero, or that's why they like a Barry Sanders Topps rookies, maybe $20, or the Pro Set rookies, like, well, PSA 10's like $200, but the score Barry Sanders rookies like $2,000 for a 10, because it's much more limited. So everything depends on how much there is of it and how many people want it. So the demand versus the supply. And if you have the reason you have the demand for gold, because it is limited and it's very attractive. It's what everybody wants. So it's high demand and it's low supply. That's why Rolexes have a high value. That's why Mickey Mantle, because there's high demand for Mickey Mantle. Everybody likes Mickey. And it's very limited because these are older cards in the 50s and 60s. So that's the point of it. So if you get that, that's really what it is. And excuse me. So that's really what's going on. But he sees the revaluation, and see, you're getting that. Most guys would not even recognize what gold is or that the dollar is going out. This is the biggest problem: is nobody realizes that this is going to zero and it's only worth 1 cent. $100 bill is worth $1. It's lost 99% of its purchasing power, and I call it 100%, because if it's lost 99, it's lost 100. The boat's sinking, the boat's sunk, right? The boat isn't sinking. The Titanic is 75, 80% in the water. It's sunk. It's the water's coming in, it's going out, it's sunk. As opposed to saying, well, it's 70% sunk or 80% sunk. It's sunk. And that's how I look at the dollar. So you go because you go into gold because the dollar's going out. You got to get out of the dollar, or you're going to sit there and watch it go to zero and sink. And then you're going to say, oh, shit, I got to get out. Well, by the time you do that, it's gone. So you got to get out now. So I'm just warning. I'm 5 steps ahead going, this is what's going to happen. This isn't a guess. This isn't an opinion. This is a fact. The dollar will go out and gold will go to the moon, and silver will follow. Right now, it's tough because JP Morgan's making all these money on these derivatives. But with Basel III, they're catching them by saying, oh, wait, we're going to take delivery of the gold. So that's really screwing up. That's why the gold jumped, but they haven't done it with silver yet. So as soon as they do it with silver, you'll see silver jump. But pretty much they're bypassing comex and they're just going right to the mines to buy this shit, or to buy the gold and silver. I think the people running the mines are a bunch of idiots because they're selling it way too cheap. They're probably on the take. JP Morgan's probably paying them off and threatening them that you sell it to us for 20 and not for 100 to Russia. But I don't know. I think the U.S. is just so corrupt, and they put Zelensky in charge. They won't let him end the war. I mean, this whole thing's stupid, and it's criminal. But we'll see what Trump does. Hopefully he wants to clean up the mess. I think he understands it and wants to clean up the mess, but I don't think he can. Too many people are on the bribes and crooked and all that stuff. So we will see. Anyway, that's about it. So football again today. I played the under in the Denver San Diego game. 2 good defenses. I like Denver as the dog, but I could see, San Diego could win by 10. Denver could win by 10, but I would think it would be lower scoring with these 2 strong defenses. So we'll see. But it's hard to beat Sean Payton by 10, that's for sure. So I got 4 or 5 locks. I got a lock Saturday in the playoff, and I believe 4 locks or 5 locks in the pros. So let's enjoy the streak we're on. 10-0 the last 2 weeks is 20-0. So let's hope to stay on it. That's why I keep wearing this shirt, because this is been my lucky shirt. Todd knows that. Nick knows that too. When I get hot with the shirt, I keep wearing it. It's just purely superstitious, but we all are that. Anyway, so that's about it. So I'll be home tomorrow, but I'll be working, and I'll be home Monday working. There's no reason, nobody will be in the office, so why do I got to sit at the desk? The only advantage is I have these 2 big screens, so I could do Excel on, and others where I could see one file here, one file there, but I'll just, for what I need to look at is just some training, so I can just look at it on the laptop. I brought my laptop home, and I can Teams my boss, and I can go in and do my pay. And if I have problems, I can just drive to work. But hopefully I'm okay here, and we'll go from that. Anyway, have a nice night, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Again, I got the $200 special for the if you want everything, bowls and pro. If you just, a lot of people just like doing what they're doing, buying it weekly, then just keep buying it weekly. I know it's hard with inflation, and I know it's hard with Christmas now. So this will last for a few weeks because there's plenty of weeks left. And do what you want. And otherwise, we will go. So again, we've got the a lot of good pro games. There's 2 pro games Saturday. I played the Pitt Baltimore game, and I haven't played the KC game because now Mahomes is playing. We'll see. We'll see what to do with that. You know, does he play the whole? He'll probably play the whole game. Fucking guy practiced today, so he's a quick healer, as we've seen, or he just has a high pain threshold. Either way. The guy just ignores a high ankle sprain. So we'll see. And then we got to watch the new quarterbacks. Thompson Robinson's in. We got Rudolph for Tennessee. We've got Locke for the Giants, Penix for Atlanta. And again, we can't really do much with them because we got to see them. We got to get information, data on them, data points. Penix, I think we're closer to, you watch the difference between Penix and Locke in the Atlanta game. It's night and day. So anyway, we got to figure out what to do with that. So anyway, have a good night, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Good luck on the bowl games. And then we got playoffs tomorrow and Saturday. And then we got football Saturday night. There's 2 games Saturday. And then everything on Sunday, and then Monday night, every fucking day. And then Christmas Day, there's 2 games on Netflix. Way too much saturation. And with these bowls every day, it's a system. You need a break. We'll see. Anyway, have a good night, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Buy your gold, buy your silver. They will be going to the moon. The dollar, I don't know how much longer they can keep it from going out. It will go out. But with the Fed cutting rates, it's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. This guy's a moron. I wouldn't raise rates. You're raising rates to slow the economy because you think prices are at. Here, you're trying to raise the economy, and the prices will go up because you'll have more activity. So if everybody's bidding on my Canadian club, then I'm going to raise my price on it. So that's what they're kind of doing. So they're trying to stimulate the economy, but that's got nothing to do with anything. Your money is worthless. All right. www.teaserking.com. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good day, everybody. I'll be buying some gold, I believe, or silver. Depends what he's got. I really just want a quarter ounce. So if he just has ounces and that's it, I won't buy. I'll buy the other 7 ounces of silver from what I bought last week. But anyway, have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. All right. Sorry about the first video, but they're just out of my hands. That's YouTube. All right. Take care.